Welcome to Let's Talk Antigonish, the podcast where we sit down with neighbors, experts, and friends to explore the stories, the questions, and the big little issues that shape life in our town, one conversation at a time. This week, we're speaking with Jake and Paul, a couple jazz professors from St. FX, to figure out why there's so much awesome jazz in this town. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Antigonish. It's me, Justin, here by myself. Anuj is still over in India. I swear he will be back, though, one day. And today we'll be talking with two, luminaries in the jazz scene here in Antigonish, jazz professors, about jazz in Antigonish and the jazz department and St. FX and Jazz Fest that's coming up. So I'm talking with Jake Hanlon, chair of the jazz department, music department.
That would be correct, yes.
And Paul Tynan, the artistic director of Jazz Fest. So welcome to the both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good pals of mine, so this may be a very casual conversation. You'll hear it in my voice. So, so let us talk about jazz in this town. So I feel like Antigonish has way more jazz going on than another random small town in Nova Scotia for the simple fact that the university is here with a bunch of jazz musicians. So what is the sort of historical relationship of Antigonish and St. FX to the jazz scene?
Go ahead, Paul. Yeah.
Well, the music department at St. Francis Xavier University has existed for a very, very long time. And in the late 70s, they decided to add a jazz component to their departmental offerings. That attracted an initial body of jazz musicians to work at X. And over the years, it's just developed and progressed, and it's led Antigonish to become one of the most important places for jazz and improvised music in the entire east coast of Canada, east of Montreal for sure.
Yeah, and so the degree that's offered here in music, is that one of the first jazz degrees you were saying?
It is the first jazz studies degree in all of Canada.
All right.
There were some college diplomas, like 2-year programs before that. But this is the first actual degree in the entire country,
and it's right. Yeah, still an active program. How many students do you have in total?
So, in as far as our Bachelor of Music degree goes, which is essentially our contemporary music and jazz degree, we have this year just under 40 majors.
Wow.
Which is it ebbs and flows, and music education is something that it's hard to put a pin in and to create reliable things, especially post pandemic. But we have a good crop of young people who are quite passionate about music and who are dedicating their higher education to it. And an unknown amount of undeclared Bachelor of Arts majors, because of the way that universities do things, you don't usually declare a major in an open degree format like a Bachelor of Arts until your second year.
Right.
So those Bachelor of Music students are direct entry. They come specifically, they audition.
So, that's my question. If you just sort of generally like music a little bit and you think, oh, I'm going to go to St. FX. Oh, I think I'll just be part of the jazz department. That's not how it works. You have to audition to get in.
Well, if you want to take the applied performance courses, like to perform in an ensemble or to take individual lessons, you do need to audition for those classes just to make sure so that we can, I don't want to say police, but I suppose...
well, we want to set the students up for success. We're not setting anyone up to fail, so we want to make sure they come in with the basic skill sets necessary to be successful in those classes.
Right, so not like, this is the first time I picked up a saxophone, I'm going to start a jazz degree. That probably would not it's a recipe for disaster.
That's right, yeah. So, but all students at the university are welcome to take any number of different music courses. It just depends on what they're exactly after. But if they're, say, an economics major and they want to suddenly start taking drum set lessons and they've never sat behind a drum set again, that's not something that we really offer. But if they're interested in learning about songwriting or music history or anything like that, then they're welcome to just register for those courses, and they'll get the education that way.
So with 40 sort of dedicated students and a few others trickling in, and then a bunch of jazz professors who are all like professional musicians, you're talking like 50 plus like really skilled musicians.
Right.
And I'm assuming a lot of the students are encouraged to go out into the town to play. So tell us about like what is happening in the jazz scene as it relates to those students and professors in town.
Well, one of the really great things that we do and have been doing since the 90s is a visiting artist program at St. FX. And because we're where we are, which is rural, and the nearest urban center is Halifax, which is about an hour and 45 minutes away, hour 50 minutes away. We have always kind of thought that we should be bringing the music to our students and to our community. So through that, over the years, we've been bringing in during the academic year, from September till March, artists from around the globe to perform on campus in concerts that are open to the entire public.
Okay.
And these are our curated performance art series that are done so by the faculty of the music program. And we'll bring in an individual or a group. And if we bring in an individual, they're supported by our faculty. So if we brought in a bassist, then we would be using our percussionist and piano, saxophone faculty and whatever to create a band out of that and put on a public performance.
So you guys, it's like an excuse for you guys to get like a mega famous star to come in so that you can like play with them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's sometimes it's a little bit out of our budget, but sometimes it's not. And I know Paul and I both have felt pretty lucky in the past to get to have played with some of our heroes, I guess, or people that we really look up to quite a bit in the music and get a chance to collaborate with them.
Yeah, and they also get to interact with our students on a personal and in professional settings, which is really fantastic because a lot of Jake and my heroes are also our students' heroes. So they'll get to have a conversation with them, maybe take them out for coffee, maybe even get to play with them in a masterclass setting. So it really creates a fantastic educational experience for the students. I know when I was in university, and I know Jake probably had similar experiences, this was the model that was set forth for us. And I personally speaking, it was incredibly exhilarating to be a part of those and fueled my fire and the passion and the dedication for me to keep going through the music were those small interactions that I had when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
So who are some of the folks that you managed to get on campus that you have great memories from the past, like maybe 10 years, or who are ones that are coming up that you're looking forward to?
Well, I suppose I could plug the current schedule, which starts next week. So that I don't know when this is going to air, but September 22nd.
Okay.
Rich Brown is coming. He's an electric bassist from the Toronto area. Really wonderful, unique musician. So he'll be performing on the 22nd, and then and giving clinics and master classes throughout his stay. For sure, also booked is October 27th. Is a bit of a homecoming. Roddy Elias, who used to be faculty at St. FX back in the 90s, who was my first guitar teacher, actually. And he's coming with his trio, which includes Halifax musicians, Tom Easley and Greg Ritchie, bass and drums. So they're going to come and perform on the 27th. And then a very special concert that I'll let Paul talk about with Martin.
Yeah, Martin Zanker. We're bringing in an outstanding bass player from Mongolia.
Mongolia?
Yeah. He's somebody that I had the pleasure of working in Asia this past year. We developed a relationship, had some conversations. It turns out he's a bit of a enthusiast for the music of Charles Mingus, and he proposed this idea of coming and putting on a concert of all of Charles Mingus's music with the students. So,
so they're playing with him?
Yes, that's right. So the St. FX, the Jazz Nonette, which is one of the stronger ensembles on campus, is going to take the semester to learn all this music, really do a deep dive into the music of Charles Mingus, and then Martin is going to come and the students are going to play that music with him. So it's a really fantastic experience for the students to be involved on this kind of level, interacting with one of our visiting artists.
Yeah. And these are at the Schwartz Auditorium, is that right?
They'll all be in the Schwartz Auditorium.
And is it cost money? Is it free? The public can go, or what are the details?
There's usually a nominal charge.
There's usually a pretty small charge
Yeah.
for, with of course a lower charge for seniors or the underemployed, and students who I guess are underemployed.
Sometimes.
So, but also like that's a really special thing to bring a visiting artist to specifically play with a student ensemble,
Yeah.
which is not unheard of at all in higher education, but we've not really done that. Not in a while that I recall, not during my time here. And in January, the 11th, if if weather permits, drummer and vibraphonist Jorge Rossi is coming here from Barcelona.
Ooh.
And originally, and he's, fans of jazz music will know him from Brad Meldau's trio and many of these really recent collaborations with Kurt Rosenwinkel and many other really renowned international jazz artists, as he is that. In addition to all of that, what we always look forward to a great deal is starting in February, right away on the 2nd of February, our senior students present their recitals.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. So that's students who are going to graduate. They sort of have been working all year on some music.
Yeah.
Is it original music sometimes?
Sometimes it depends on the individual. But we have 2 blocks of recitals. There are bachelor music students, and then our honor students start in March. And in March, those honor students will have to present a certain amount of original compositions and arrangements. And so that will be a very busy time. Because we have a good sized class graduating. So every Monday, with the exception of the holiday Monday in February, there'll be recitals happening in the Schwartz Auditorium.
That's a lot of jazz for a small town, I feel like.
It's a lot. And then every Tuesday night at 9:00 at the townhouse, our students play. They have a regular gig that they've negotiated there.
Okay.
And so that's every Thursday night. And the last Monday night of every month, at least this fall, at the Heritage Museum, I'll be presenting a concert.
Really?
With my colleagues.
Okay, cool.
So there's a lot going on. It's sure. Kind of like you had said in the preamble, like for a town of 4,000, 5,000 people that are residents here, plus the students, the amount of this creative art music that goes on it punches way a bit above its weight. Most people aren't aware of a lot of it.
Yeah, that's one of the things in this town, like without the newspaper or a sort of central agenda calendar. Yeah. How do people learn about these shows? Where, like, are there posters up? Should they go on the Facebook?
Sometimes
account?
they'll hear it on a podcast.
Like
yes, I heard that podcasts are a good way to get there.
I heard. Yeah, our website has all of these dates.
Yeah.
So if you went to St. FX Music Department website, all this stuff is available there. Word of mouth often, and we also have a mailing list. So if folks who hear this podcast are interested in getting onto that mailing list, they can email music@stfx.ca, and our amazing administrative person Crystal will add you to the list.
Cool. So then Jazz Fest is something else. That's a different beast. All of what you're talking about is coming from the St. FX Music Department.
The music department.
But Jazz Fest is that, what is the relationship between Jazz Fest?
The relationship is me.
Okay.
Simply because I sit on the board of the Jazz Festival as the artistic director, and I also work in the music department of St. FX. So it isn't real. There's kind of a bit of an arm's length distance between the festival and the music department.
Yeah.
Sometimes the festival will utilize some of the department's gear. For example, when Pacific Mambo Orchestra came, we utilized some percussion equipment.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's
its own thing.
It's its own thing.
So
yeah.
What is the thing?
So the Tourism Association, Paul Curry and the Tourism Association, about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago now, had this idea of how can we extend the tourism season in northeastern Nova Scotia.
I see.
And they said, well, we have this really great collection of jazz, and there's a lot of jazz that happens in this town. Why don't we capitalize on that and have a jazz festival here? Now, some of you may remember that there was a jazz festival in Antigonish about 23 years ago. That happened, I think, for 1 or 2 years, and due to budget constraints, it was not able to proceed. And the original festival, was 100% tied to the university.
Okay.
This one's completely different,
Right.
tied to the Tourism Association. So, yeah, that's how it all got started. And shortly after they decided to do that, I was asked to come on board as artistic director, which I've been doing now. This is my 4th year as artistic director of the festival.
And you've got the Pacific Mambo Orchestra. They're like a Grammy-winning group. And then you've had like Funky Knuckles. The other one was Herbie Hancock's Headhunters.
Well, Herbie wasn't with them, but the Headhunters are iconic, legendary.
Right. These are huge acts coming to a tiny town in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
How on earth do you manage this?
Magic.
Do you you blackmail them in some way?
No. So I've been in the industry for a long time. I have some, friends and colleagues that, if they're not necessarily associated with these ensembles, they may know somebody who are. So, I dig into my back pocket and see what's there, and go with that. And
so when is it?
The festival this year is running from November 13th to November 15th.
Okay.
And it's in venues all throughout the community.
Yeah. So explain about that kind of atmosphere, because if you've been to it, it's like it's in various locations. So you feel like you're suddenly, because it's a small town, you feel like you're at a huge concert in a sense with lots of little acts everywhere.
Yeah. So that's part of the goal of the festival, right? We want to bring these concerts into different venues around the town, because there's a fair amount of people who come from outside of the Antigonish area to go to this festival. Which is really fantastic. So it is for our community, but by bringing people in from outside the community, they're going to attend the festival. They're going to be eating at restaurants. They're going to be purchasing hotels. So that's really quite fantastic. I think it's one of these things that strengthens the community for sure.
Yeah. And so the acts, based on my understanding of past events, there's a lot of jazz acts actually doing jazz. Whereas I think of like the Halifax Jazz, that's mostly not jazz. That's like pop acts a lot of the time. So, or maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but like, what is your sort of artistic vision? Are you really sticking to big jazz names? You're making jazz the focus?
Yes.
Okay.
That said, on the Thursday evening slot, we have like jazz adjacent acts. So, for example, this year on November 13th at 5:30, Charlie Acord is going to be performing at the festival.
The name I know. What's Charlie do?
He's a fantastic blues-based kind of guitar player.
Yeah.
He's really amazing. In blues, I mean, there would be no jazz without the blues, so that works really good. Last year, we had John Hines' trio, and that also was really quite fantastic. It broadens the scope of the music a little bit. We're having a pretty strong Latin group in from Montreal this year as well. Alex Bellegarde's bringing his Latin jazz group in, and that is still jazz, but it's more Latin music than straight ahead jazz,
yeah,
if you will.
So how does it, like, because there's lots of locations, can you buy like a ticket for a show, or is there tickets for the whole thing, or how does that work?
Yes, there are festival passes you can buy, or you can buy individual tickets, and those are all available at Ticket Pro.
Okay. And so you say people are coming from the outside. Like, what is the attendance like at this thing?
It's been pretty good. People coming from Moncton, Cape Breton, Halifax, all over the province. There were some people from PEI that bought tickets. So that's been really great. They're coming here to Antigonish to hear and see music,
and
which is good.
What do you think the future of it is? Like, if you as the artistic director, what kind of acts would you like to bring? Would you like to see it grow, a longer festival, more venues?
Well, I am a fan of slow growth.
Okay.
Because I think slow growth is more stable, as opposed to like booking great big giant acts that, we spend a lot of money on and maybe aren't as relevant or aren't accessible to the community. And then the festival doesn't do as well. So I think slow growth is good. Like, for example, this year is part of that. Our major headlining act is Matt Dusk, who is
he's a crooner?
Yeah, he is an internationally renowned major singer.
Okay.
So that's going to be really quite fantastic. He's the kind of person that would sell out the Rebecca Cohn if he's in Halifax. And we have him. So that's really wonderful.
And Jake, are there musicians from the department or even students who get up on stage and play? Is that part of it as well?
Well, I mean, it's quite often that you're bringing in these acts that like a Matt Dusk or who have relationships with members of the faculty or past members of the faculty, so they know the caliber of the musician that they have available to them when they agree to this sort of a booking, and they reach out and hire my colleagues to perform these sessions. So that's really common because it's very expensive to tour with your own band. Obviously, I think that we all know that. So the music department's faculty reputation right now is incredibly high. Our the caliber of musician that Paul and I get to work with is truly global. And we recently brought in a new member of our faculty who, when he was talking with friends about coming out here, they said, "Oh wow, they've got a super strong faculty at St. FX."
Yeah.
And so when we do bring people here, it's no burden to them to work with any of us.
Yeah.
And
So
they usually have in the past.
I also, as artistic director, it's important for me to involve young people as performing acts in the festival. I always program a high school group.
Yes.
Cool.
And this year, the Dr. J High School Stage Band is going to be playing.
Nice.
And we've reached out to various ensembles through the regional community to come play, high school ensembles I'm talking to play at the festival. That's important to me. I also hire St. FX music students for the busking events, which happen on noon. So there's always some young musicians playing busking, and the late night events, the jam sessions. That's always St. FX students or very recent grads playing and hosting jam sessions to kind of enrich the community of the festival, of the musicians that are there to come play, have a beer and hang out and play a couple tunes or just listen. That's part of our tradition. So it's important for me to be able to create that for them.
So talk for a second about when you're getting a jazz degree, part of what you're educating the students to do is to be able to essentially play anything as needed in the moment. So I think this is an interesting thing people don't understand is you can have an act come in to your university and be like, okay, I'm going to do a show. And then he just picks a bunch of you jazz artists. You learn the music and randomly show up and play it perfectly. I think that is mind blowing to a lot of people. Cause like if you just ask a bunch of rock and roll musicians like, hey, can you guys come and support these like 15 rock and roll songs? I think people would freak out. They'd be like, oh my God, I had to practice forever. Whereas you guys are just sight reading music and you got it down. Fine. So talk a little bit about that system. Well,
maybe this is a little bit of like their, behind the fourth wall sort of thing, but it can appear that way. But I think that pop and rock musicians can get a bad rap in terms of that. They're usually given a song list and recordings to learn off of, and then they go and they learn it. But having the knowledge and the skill set of being able to be good readers and to have a common background in the music certainly makes things go quickly. I've never been, Paul, maybe you have been, but I've never been involved with a visiting artist coming to campus where there's been more than an hour long rehearsal or an hour and a half at the absolute most, which was usually just kind of like talking through things rather than playing things out because the music is sent in advance. And so then you deal with it.
Yeah, you practice
as a musician.
If you need to.
Yeah. So, and that's definitely the mentorship element of what studying music at the post-secondary level is about. It's about demonstrating to students what it takes to play at an incredibly high level. And there have been plenty of visiting artists that have come where the rehearsal was at sound check.
I think that's mind blowing to people to think that like you, Paul, you could just show up technically, you not even having seen the music, and then you've got a whole set to play, and you're just looking at sheet music, and you can just play right along, no problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose classical musicians are probably in the same ballpark.
Some of them are.
Similarly.
It's not much difference than pulling a book off the bookshelf and opening to a page and reading a paragraph.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And you had to learn how to read, and you had to spend years in elementary school learning how to read. Reading music is just like reading words on a page.
Yep.
It's a practice skill, and the more you do it, the better you get at it, and it becomes almost second nature.
Still, it looks pretty cool from the outside. It looks a little bit like magic, I have to say, for the untrained.
I understand that too, because it can be really mind blowing and impressive. And I know that I've been in the audience at many of these concerts as I watch my colleagues play and then pull off some stuff that I'm listening to it. I'm like, wow, that's a really hard book. Like, and they're playing great,
Yeah.
But a lot of that comes from shared experience of that, we are all super passionate about this. This is not a passive hobby or something like that. This is something that we're dedicated to, and we dedicate time every day. And that's what we're trying to impart to our students, that if you want to be a musician with a capital M, and that be your career path through your life for however long you're willing to engage in that it's not going to class and then going home and cracking open a beer and playing Xbox. It's,
I mean, sometimes it is.
sometimes you got to do that, right? But you're up in the morning and you're doing your warm-ups, and you go to class, and then you practice between classes, and then classes are over, and then you got a jam session, and and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And going to see the music performed live, I'm of the mindset these days that is so absolutely critical for every human being to see live music, to remember that music is real, and it's not an AI bot on Spotify, because that's what it's turning into.
Yeah.
And so I always encourage everybody to come and see as much live music as you possibly can, regardless of what kind of music it is.
Yeah.
Well,
because it's just good for your soul.
And there's an extraordinary opportunity in this town to see the music we've been talking about, the jazz departments, the music department's shows, or the Jazz Fest itself. Like, it's sort of unprecedented for a small town, the opportunity.
Well, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, because Antigonish is a very musical town. There's a lot of other styles that are just as equal in what they contribute to the community.
Like the Performing Arts
Like the
series.
Performing Arts Society,
series.
the Celtic Jam Session. There's all sorts of really great music in this town.
I hear there's some good dad bands out there as well.
Yeah, there's this band called the Minivans that sometimes has a flat tire. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. That's true. There's a ton of music, but again, extraordinary that these big acts are coming in here, and some of the faculty you're talking about are, you guys are internationally renowned. Is there anything about these festivals or these performances or the jazz department in general that you'd like to tell people about, or maybe something that people get wrong about what's happening with music in this town or whatnot, that you'd like to tell them about, set the record straight?
Man, I think it's okay for them to have their own opinions. And I think it's also okay if they think something is a little strange, or they don't understand what something it is. I would encourage them to come check it out and use their ears and listen and see.
Yeah.
It's like and if you don't like something after you hear it, I think it's probably the best thing you can do is ask yourself why.
Mm-hmm.
And dig into that within yourself. Why didn't I like that concert? Or I really like that concert. Why did I really like that concert?
Sure, to think about your consumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that folks in the community, perhaps because something's happening on campus, feel that perhaps that's not for them, which is entirely false. And we welcome everybody to our performances.
Yeah, you want people to come from the town.
We want people to come. Like, we need an audience, to pull energy from, to play at our best. But it's also, we're trying to share something that we're really in love with. And I think that regardless of if you understand jazz or not, I think that passion always comes through. I've not been to a concert once as an audience member at this university, and I've been coming to concerts here since 1994, where I wasn't left satisfied.
Right.
So I think that anybody can enjoy any kind of music if they're just willing to put themselves out there.
All right. Well, then this is a call for people who have never been to a show at the Schwartz to see jazz, to come out to that, or go to Jazz Fest. Get get some tickets if you can get in. I remember going out a couple years ago, and I couldn't get in. There was a couple of venues that were like overflowing.
It's that was a really good problem to have.
Exactly. So so get your tickets early. Come to Jazz Fest. Come see these guys play. Yeah. All right. Well, I thank you two for
thanks a lot, Justin.
For coming in.
Thanks for your time, man.
And,
thanks for asking.
Yeah, rock on. Is that what you say to jazz?
Sure.
people?
Sure.
Rock on, guys. Okay, bye. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Antigonish. If you like the podcast, don't hesitate to subscribe. Just go to letstalkantigonish.ca and click. Voila! You'll receive new episodes right in your email inbox.
This podcast is a labor of love. Please consider making a contribution, small or large, maybe a monthly subscription. Depending on the level of public support, we would like to engage local producers and journalists to create more regular deep dive news stories about life here in Antigonish.
Right now, it's just Anuj and I doing this in our free time. You can read all about the podcast and ways to support us at letstalkantigonish.ca. And if you're a local business that wants to sponsor the podcast or even place an audio ad, we are certainly not opposed. A huge thank you to all of our subscribers and especially our paid subscribers, which have helped us to buy the audio equipment that we needed to get this thing off the ground. And remember to get in touch with us if you have an idea for a future episode or a burning question about life in Antigonish that you want us to explore and get answers to. We welcome all feedback. Just email us at letstalkantigonish@gmail.com. Let's talk, Antigonish.